Now, just a quick disclaimer before the video starts. I recorded this video about a month ago and decided I'm going to release it now since it was in my camera roll for a very long time. I know you guys want me to do a video on Invincible. That's gonna come out after this video, so maybe like 2 days after this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Peace out. So I've made 2 versus battle videos, and they're actually some of my most disliked videos on my channel. So I got the bright idea, and I was like, hey, why not make a 3rd? If you saw my Cash App video, I talked about how I'm going to do more stupid debates on the channel, and I wanted to go over specifically debates that I thought were particularly dumb. I wanted to go over debates that Death Battle actually went over first. So I'm starting with Miles versus Deku. And if you know me in person, or if you see my community posts, you actually know my thoughts on who I think wins. Usually I have the more unanimous opinion most of the time when I post an opinion on a debate. But for this one, people actually disagreed with my opinion on this. They were saying, bro, you're tripping, bro. Deku's cooks Miles, bro. I don't know what you're on about. Like, Miles is not winning this. And I wanted to go over this because I actually think this fight is closer than people say it is. And I want to get over my personal opinions on this. I know I'm a bit of a month late on this, but I think since the hype has died down on it, since no My Hero fans are going to kill me now, I think I can finally say my opinions on this debate. So I'm going to go over the scaling of both characters, starting with their strength, or I guess attack potency, whatever you want to call it, and then going over their speed. Now, if you know me, or if you see my TikToks, you know that I am known for bullying Deku a lot, especially during 2022, where that was like the peak era to bully My Hero. And honestly, the bullying doesn't stop here because I will admit, those street tier tweets that I'm seeing on Twitter are the most hilarious thing ever. I could just bully Deku and say that he's not even building level, but I have to be realistic here. I can't just go around bullying. I have to be as non-biased as possible, or else people are gonna get mad. So I'm gonna go over the scaling with Deku. The best feats we see from Deku are him generating a punch that can change the weather. This feat was so powerful that it was calced to be at the multi-continental ranges. So around season 3 at Invincible level. And I will admit, this is a very impressive feat. He's also stated several times in the manga that he's more powerful than All Might. But Deku's not just focused on his strength, he's also focused on his speed. He can generate lightning every time he runs or punches. And he has shown several times in the manga to having those relativistic and near light speed feats of speed. I'll just put the calcs on the screen so you can see them for yourself. Very impressive, all things considered. However, you have to realize that Miles is a comic book character that has been around for several years. And what this means is that there's several continuities and new things that they add, even for their lower end street tiers. What I mean by this is that the best feats we see from Deku are like nothing compared to what Miles has done casually in the comics. Some of Miles' most impressive feats are him defeating Blackheart, who is a Ghost Rider villain. Blackheart was a character who was able to solo the entire Avengers, and they had Scarlet Witch on their team, who is a literal cosmic being. He was also able to fight gods that were able to contend with Hercules, who's one of the strongest characters in Marvel, and is casually fighting people like Hulk and Thor on a daily basis. He's also showed relativity to Peter, not only in strength, but in speed. Peter is a character that has dodged lasers several times and has dodged lightning and electricity. He was also able to knock out Peter twice with a Venom Blast. Peter has tank hits from Moreland, who he has stated hits like the Hulk. And Hulk is one of the top tier beings in the Marvelverse, so using chain scaling and their feats alone, it proves that Miles is just way above Deku. His Venom punches could definitely damage Deku. Also, Miles is definitely durable enough to tank Deku's attacks. He has an entire vibranium suit, vibranium being one of the strongest metals in Marvel. Characters like Hulk and Thanos can't even break vibranium. That's how strong the metal is. And he has an entire suit made out of that. This suit was gifted to him by Black Panther, one of the best street tiers in Marvel and easily one of the most intelligent. What I want to go over specifically is that Death Battle said that Deku could break vibranium if he wanted to, which I find extremely stupid. You can't break something that's indestructible. That doesn't make any sense unless you have like magical powers or like cosmic powers, and no character in My Hero has that. My Hero fans kind of confuse me. They're very weird, and it's a little depressing to look at. Remember in 2021 when they said All Might could beat Thanos? What was that about? Miles overall has similar and better scaling and feats to Deku, and honestly, he's just way more durable than Deku is, due to the fact that, again, he has a vibranium suit. I never really understood how so many people could get this debate wrong. Most people can agree that Peter Parker Spider-Man can beat Deku in a fight, but when it's a stronger and hacked out version of Spider-Man, all of a sudden, y'all have trouble deciding who the winner is. I just never really understood that. Hello, this is David from the future. Something I forgot to clarify in my original recording was that people like to use this feat of Miles punching Noah in the face and drawing blood from him. And I just want to say, this feat is invalid. mainly because Null was off guarded and he didn't even take that much damage from Miles. So I just wanted to clarify that for anybody who still uses this feat or anybody wondering why I didn't use this feat in the video. Proceed. So yeah, I obviously had to use Comics Miles because honestly, Death Battle used feats for Insomniac and Spider-Verse Miles, which I don't really have a huge problem with because they're known for using composite versions of characters several times. However, I didn't want to use those feats because two things. One, it felt a bit unfair to give Miles everything and use like 5 different versions of him and only use one version of Deku. If I had to use a composite Miles, that means I would also have to use a composite Deku. Two, they haven't really shown that many impressive feats to look at. Miles in the Insomniac games has shown impressive feats like generating a blast that can destroy all of Harlem. However, compare that to like season 2 or 3 Deku, that's not really that special. And Spider-Verse Miles is better written than Insomniac Miles, but he's insanely weak compared to the comics Miles or even the Insomniac version. Another thing to add on is that Miles was able to destroy a being that was destroying planets with little to no difficulty. So planetary scaling isn't the worst thing to say for him. I think it's pretty consistent overall. However, I'm willing to be corrected on this take, so if you disagree, please explain why in the comments and I'll gladly look at it and analyze it. I wasn't really familiar with either characters. I had to do more research on them before looking at the death battle. That's how I mainly came to the conclusion that Miles wins, because I'm more familiar with Peter Parker's Spider-Man, but I didn't know much about Miles before getting into this debate. Same goes for Deku. I knew things about Deku, but I didn't know, all of his feats and like all the crazy things he did, which I will admit, yes, Deku is strong. I just don't think he's beating Miles. Like I said before though, if you disagree, leave it in the comments below. I touched earlier that I wanted to do more debunks about death battle videos that they got wrong, debates that they messed up, and certain aspects with the death battle that I just didn't like. So stuff like Bowser versus Eggman, Spawn versus Ghost Rider, Simon versus White Lantern, Omni-Man versus Bardock. Oh, just wait you. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with your family members. Follow me on all my social medias. Pay me on Cash App if you can. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. However, I'm willing to be corrected on this take. If you think Deku wins, go ahead and explain why in the comics.